Morning. Back at my favorite honey hole here in Florida. I'm really proud of myself. I cycled here, pedaled the whole entire way. Yes, I have an electric bike, but I've been playing with the various settings, and it's like 4.5, 5 miles over here, and I pedaled the entire way, and I officially have bike butt. It's so cool. Like, people have teased me because of my legs my entire life, said I had bird legs. And at age 44, I finally don't have bird legs. I've got biker's legs. And I don't even run out of breath. It's just the coolest thing. I can go set my power setting on 4 and maintain 16 miles an hour indefinitely. And the battery bar usage is like on the very bottom. It's just so cool. I love it. Anyways, haven't been here in a long time, and I like coming here because it's real quiet. I'm just going to turn this around so y'all can see my view. That is the ICW. That's south. That's Florida. That's the island. That direction, about a mile, maybe a mile and a half, is the Atlantic Ocean. And other than the occasional airplane that's flying over like that one is now, and the birds, it's just so quiet here. I love it. But today's topic is the real reason they don't like me. Well, who is they? Well, they is a umbrella word that I use to encompass the machine. And in my case, the crooked Title 4D funded family courts. They consist of a lot of politicians. Politicians who write all these laws, such as Title 4D of the Social Security Act, passed in 1975. They also includes the crooked family court judges that maintain the status quo, that keep the machine running. They also includes, this is my favorite one I just love it, taking on these people, the professional child support check cashers. And there is a bunch of them. There's millions of them. And this video is why they don't like me. And I'll tell you exactly why. They will never tell you why. They will say, "You exploited your children, Mr. Leverett. You put your children online for money. You put your children's worst possible moments online just to get YouTube famous. Oh, yeah, now we found out Caleb Leverett, he admitted he was a drunk. He was an alcoholic for years. Let's use that against him." They are mad because I beat them. I beat all of them. I beat all of the crooked judges over the past 45 years who have been enforcing the crooked Title 4D family-funded courts. I beat all of the politicians who wrote the laws and maintained the laws on the books that rips kids out of good families. I beat all of the professional child support check cashers for the last 2 generations. That is the real reason they don't like me. And of course, they'll never admit that. That's an age-old tactic. There's been movies written about it, books written about it, people getting upset over something somebody did, and they can't admit why they're upset about it because that would actually expose who they are. So they make up anything to discredit that person, such as in my case. You just want to get YouTube famous. You just want to get rich off of YouTube. Oh, now you're an alcoholic. Yeah, well, that sounds good. Let's rail Caleb Leverett with that one. He's an alcoholic. So he even admitted it, and now we can use it against him. I just love it when people say that. You put your kids online. And what's funny is most of the people who give me that criticism, almost all of their profile pictures are either of them and their kids or just their cheer-ins. People post what they do with their kids all the time. All the boring crap with their kids that they do all the time. Oh, I can't believe he said that. Well, it is. It's boring for adults. I mean, I understand it. I did it. When kids are little, you do little kid things. That's part of being a parent. I did it all the time. It was fun for me personally. But for adults, it's just boring. That's why it's called kid stuff, because kids like to do it. But people have been posting what their kids do ever since the internet. It's just part of it. You know, I mean, there's like specific groups out there, Caleb Leverett is a fraud, who go find other places that have pictures of my cheer-ins with other people. Apparently that's okay, but if I do it, oh no, he's just exploiting his children for money. Well, I got news for y'all. What you're really saying is you don't like freedom. There's this thing called the Constitution that was basically just a piece of paper written by men, white men, slave-owning men, 250, 60, whatever years ago. And allegedly, that's the law of the land, which, yes, I admittedly, as an anarchist, I hide behind it all the time. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to hide behind the freedom of speech clause, First Amendment. I love it. I think it's badass. But what you're really saying is you don't like freedom of speech, because all I ever did was hold up my camera in my truck or on the street corner in public and film what was happening. Lots of times, especially back then, it was what was happening to my cheer-ins. Man, these fish, when they jump, it is just the coolest thing. I'm gonna see if I can get y'all. Y'all gotta see this. I'm not sure you can. They're just so pretty. They jump like a foot, 2 feet in the air. And of course they quit just as soon as I put the camera. Oh, there's one. He was behind the tree a little bit. I'm not sure if you saw it. Just so cute. Anyway, that's the real reason they don't like me. They can't state that because then they would have to admit that they don't like freedom. So they make up reasons they don't like me. And I just think it's hilarious. Yeah, they got some good jabs in on me. They ripped my kids away from me. They allowed my cheer-ins to move 375 miles away from Odessa, Texas to San Antonio, Texas. They threw me in jail for 60 days for being a good dad. They forced me to write a check to the attorney that put me in jail, that fought to put me in jail, plus my own attorneys, within 10 days, or else go back to jail. Yeah, y'all did good. You did pretty good. You got some wax in on me. You did. You almost succeeded. Because I ain't gonna lie, there was a few times I never honestly thought about committing suicide, but I got to the point where I see why some people do. I was scared to death and broke, and I never was humiliated. That's what they wanted, to humiliate me, but I never was humiliated. I mean, I went to jail, family court jail. Judge Rex threw me in family court jail. They didn't humiliate me. I didn't like it, and it was awful. Jail's a terrible place. It's incredibly boring, and it's really, really cold. And it's like, it is scary because there are some freaks in there. The the chomos. There's a whole section there just for child molesters. That was creepy. That was gross. And I was thrown in there with those people. Yeah, the real reason they don't like me is I beat them. I'm still kicking. I'm still alive. My children still know their dad. My kids and I have had our differences, just like anybody else. Not going to go into it. But the thing is, my kids are grown now. There's no such thing as taking my cheerings away from them anymore. And Caleb, you're just so arrogant. Your arrogant just reeks. I just can't stand you. Yeah, well, what you mistake for arrogance is really confidence. I'm not saying I did everything right all those years, whether it's my parenting, my activism. This has been a long process of learning. And I've finally figured it out. I knew all along that there's something wasn't right. But what it boils down to is Title IV defunding. Two generations of kids have been brought up in broken households. If this passed in 1975, that was 2 years before I was born. My generation was raised in a lot of broken households, divorced parents, mostly broke dads, some broke mothers, but mostly broke dads. And then we all grew up. And then we started having cheerings. I, unfortunately, mistakenly, foolishly made 4 children with a woman that I wasn't compatible with. My kids are grown now. And I look around, like on Facebook or whatever, and I see a lot of people I went to school with. They're just now starting families, or they got a bunch of, 5, 8, 10, 12-year-olds. But some of the people my age have got kids my age. And kids my kids' age. And so even some of them, like there's people my age that are grandparents now. A lot of people my age are grandparents. The people my age with those kids, half of them grew up in split households. Mom or dad had to pay child support. 9 times out of 10, it was always the dad. Again, I've covered that in the last video, if you care to go check it out. Me covering the letter I got, the email I got from the candidate Joe Jaworski, who is running for Deadbeat Paxton's office. But anyway, it's generational. And I've learned that whining about crooked judges, lying ass family court lawyers, is just that. It's just whining. It's almost pointless. You're just hacking at the branches of a very large tree. And that large tree is the Title IV family funding. You've got to strike the root if you want to kill a tree. You've got to strike the root. That is the only way we are ever going to get out of this. And it's going to end. Title IV defunding is going to end, one way or another. As old as my videos are, I did not pioneer this. I'm happy to be part of the beginning of really socking it to these assholes and proving exactly what really happens. Actually being a real reporter, unlike the cowards in the news, whether it's NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News, CNN, or all of the local stations, News West 9, Channel 7, Big 2, KMID back in Odessa, Texas, all the cowards there that just refused to report on me. There's one reporter What was his name? John, with the Odessa American. Gosh, I feel terrible. I can't remember his name. Vanderlyn? John Vanderlyn, I believe. John Vanderlyn, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's John Vanderlyn. I don't even know if he's still with the Odessa American, the OAOA.com. He was the only one that I'm aware of that wasn't afraid to actually report on what was happening. And I don't know what happened to him, but I hope he's doing well. My story made it to Breitbart. I got one little mention in Breitbart after I got out of jail the first time, whenever it became public news to the judge that the anonymous video came out. And that's it. But anyways, I did not pioneer this. There's a man. Let's see, I'm trying to remember his name. Ben Vonderheide. Ben Vonderheide is the true pioneer of recording what happens to your kids and using social media. Way back when he was doing it, I'm not even sure there was such a thing as YouTube. That's how long ago Ben Vonderheide was doing this. I got the opportunity to interview Ben Vonderheide long time ago. If I'm not mistaken, I found out about Ben either right before or right after the Parker movie. I want to say it was right after. And Ben Vonderheide this is before the digital age. He was holding big, bulky VHS cassette tapes. These cameras that are huge. And he was like going and he bought a trailer or rented it. Somehow he got a big trailer and hooked it up to a truck and had a sign built. And on both sides of this sign, he put the name of the judge that screwed him over and stole his son away from him. And he was driving in circles around the courthouse. And he's holding his camera up, and there's some people that hated him. And they're like spitting on him and throwing ice cream cartons at him. But then there's other people who are like giving him $5 and $10 bills saying, keep going, man, here's some gas money. Keep going. He's got videos where he was walking into the courtrooms and confronting the lawyers and the judges that stole his son away from him. Unfortunately, the last time I talked to Ben was in that interview, and his son was successfully alienated from him. And as sad as that is, well, that's just it. It's terrible. But I want to make it very known and very clear that I did not pioneer this. I'm happy that the 14-year-old Parker movie is still going. And that only tells me two things. One's good, one's bad. The good thing is parents and kids, my kids' age back then, are getting inspired. They're carrying the torch. I'm happy to be a vessel that could help them carry the torch. The downside is not much has changed yet. Not enough has changed. It's changing, though. If it had completely changed, then I've said this for years, my videos would be irrelevant. That's my dream and aspiration, is for my entire channel to be completely irrelevant, because Title IV defunded family courts. The $1 trillion machine is gone. It'll just be part of history. Look at what the families used to have to go through. And it's going away. It's going to go away. I am so happy when someone tells me, Caleb, I watched your videos. Your sons are brave. Thank you for standing up and doing what was right. And they give their story, their testimony of whether it's the parent, you helped me learn the laws, learn what to say whenever using my camera to talk to cops and courts and when I was confronted. And that excites me. That excites me because it's happening more and more and more. All I was a vessel to continue making sure that the torch was carried on. And it started for me with men like Ben Vonderheide. I don't even know if his videos are even, you can still find them on YouTube. I think you can. I think the last time I looked, it's been a couple years, but if you get a chance, look up Ben Vonderheide. Much the way I was labeled or called the Notorious Dad in jail, I can't remember. He had a moniker that he went by, and it had something to do with it. It was similar to Notorious Dad. But anyway, look up Ben Vonderheide. He was the real pioneer. He was doing this way before I was, at least a decade before I was. And I'm just, again, happy and proud to be part of that, where other people can see what I did, see what my kids and me went through, and carry it on even further. Because I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime, but Title 4D funded courts are going down. This is a new era. Digital, everything, there's pluses and minuses about it, just like with pretty much any technology. There are negative sides to it. The surveillance state is terrible. The tracking state is terrible. You just have to outsmart them. You got to use their own crap against them and record, especially in public. And if you're in a very tense situation with an ex, where drop-offs and pickups, there's always confrontation. Almost every time, even the family courts will say you got to do it in a public place. A lot of times it's a police station. You can record at a police station, especially in their parking lot. You can. Just hold your camera up. Don't try to hide it, because then you get in all kinds of different, there's all kinds of different laws about people who've tried to squash the truth, what it really is. But don't hide your camera. Never hide it. Never, ever, ever hide your camera. Make it known. Yes, I am so-and-so, and I am recording. I've got this camera, and I might have some more cameras. You never know. Everybody will behave. They'll be on their best behavior, much like being in court. People are almost always on their best behavior in court because they've got eyes on them. People will usually behave when they've got a camera in their face, as they should. You should live your life as if a camera's always in your face, because you never know. It just might be. And you just might be the next YouTube superstar of behaving badly if you don't put yourself in check. That's another thing that I think, as far as along with getting rid of these crooked Title 4D family courts, is cameras in courtrooms. This old archaic way of having only the court reporter be the only arbiter of everything that is documented is just that. It's archaic. It's ancient. It's almost pointless. I mean, I guess you can have one still, a court reporter in there. Nothing wrong with a court reporter being there. But if we're going to have court reporters in there, let's have real court reporters. Let's have, if these Title 4D funded family courts, this $1 trillion industry is going to maintain itself, well, if they can afford the lawyers and the crap that they afford now, they can most certainly afford to put cameras in courts, because cameras will always pick up communication that a court reporter will never pick up. What do you mean by that, Caleb? Well, I'll tell you. A court reporter records words spoken and by whom they were spoken. The court reporter does not pick up tears. The court reporter does not pick up laughter unless someone's laughing and the judge specifically calls them out. And even then, a lot of times the judge will say, strike that from the record, and they'll strike it from the record. But Cameras will pick up emotion. And that is crucial. That is crucial. That's why when people, in the old days say, well, hook me up to a lie detector test, they want to see if someone's lying. Court reporters can't pick that up. They can just pick up words. And I can prove this. I can absolutely prove this. Pick your favorite movie and your favorite scene of your favorite movie. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's an old movie or a new movie. Doesn't matter what genre, if it's a scary movie, a drama, a comedy, a romantic comedy. Doesn't matter. Pick your favorite movie of all time and pick a scene from it. 30 seconds, a 3-minute, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And transcribe on paper, if there's 2 characters, 3 characters, whatever, it doesn't matter. However many characters there are, for this sake, let's just say there's 2 characters. Transcribe the exact words that are said in that scene. Maybe it's a really emotional one, like just a tearjerker. It just makes you bawl every time you see it. Write down the words from character A and character B throughout the whole scene. Then you and your friend get a camera in your living room and y'all sit down and only read the words. No tears, no expression, no blinking, no glancing, no laughter, no crying, nothing. Just only read the words. And you read that to your camera. Hell, these days people just love wearing fucking masks. Put a mask on. Put a mask on so we can't see your face, can't see your expression. Put sunglasses on like I've got. I like my new sunglasses. Cheap little Foster Grants. I love them. And read just the words and then publish that onto YouTube and see what kind of response you get. I guarantee you, people who love that movie just as much as you do and love the scene from that movie just as much as you do will not be impressed. It will have no comparison of the effect that the original movie had on you. And why is that? Well, it's because cameras pick up emotion. Cameras pick up glances. Cameras pick up details that are crucial to communication. That's why Hollywood producers, the successful ones, are so successful. Is because they capture the moment. They capture the real communication, not just simply the spoken word. Like authors. A good author can make you, just by reading their words, can make you cry, laugh, feel frightened, feel sad. They can make you feel all kinds of emotions. That's why people like them. A court reporter will only record the actual word spoken. That's it. There's no emotion. They don't say, tearily, Jane Doe talked into the mic and said, as the tears strolled down her face, in a high, cracked voice, he said, he was mean to me. They don't put that. It simply says, so-and-so, whoever it is, quote, he was mean to me. It means nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean nothing, but there's a whole bigger picture. And why these family courts don't do this yet? Hell, not only, family courts ought to do it. I think criminal courts ought to do it too. Some criminal courts have done it for years. I mean, hell, I remember watching the OJ trial back in the 90s. But anyway, there's no reason that cameras should not be in these courts, because the camera will tell a much more detailed story than simply the spoken word. Well, as I do often, I go off on these rants, but this is the real reason they don't like me. The real reason they don't like me is not what they say. The real reason they don't like me is because I beat them. Y'all have a good day.